Good morning, and I am Ina Harvey, IICA representative in Barbados. And on behalf of IICA, let me extend a very warm welcome to all of our participants and panelists here this morning who are joining us for the launch of this first Caribbean Agri-Food Business Series, post-COVID-19 resilience building and new opportunities for Caribbean businesses. Just very quickly, by way of background, as part of the post-COVID-19 recovery process, IICA and COLEACP have joined forces in collaboration with a number of international and Caribbean partners to support a more resilient and greener agricultural and agri-food business sector in the Caribbean. This series will be a 2-hour bi-monthly session focusing on entrepreneurship development. The Caribbean Agri-Food Business Series aims at exchanging ideas and best practices on selected priority issues, showcasing successes of smallholders, businesses, and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, promoting and documenting forthcoming innovations and technologies benefiting smallholders and MSMEs, promoting networking among all of the stakeholders in the food chain, and disseminating research findings. We have an exciting session this morning with panelists from Jamaica, from St. Lucia, from Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana. And we have representation from the very top of our two organizations, from our Director General of IICA, Manuel Otero, and our Director General of COLEACP. So let me welcome everyone. The biodata of all of our presenters will be in the chat, and I will be presenting very short introductions so that we give all of our panelists and presenters maximum time to tell you all of the exciting things in this session. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our panel this morning. And to start our panel, hold a moment, please. To start our panel, we will have welcome remarks from our IICA Director General, Dr. Manuel Otero. DG, please have the floor.
Thank you, Ina. Hello, everyone. Nice to participate in this meeting in the context of the COLEACP IICA Strategic Alliance. I greet Jeremy Knopps, Isolina Boto, and on their behalf, I would like to extend my greetings to other colleagues of COLEACP, the entrepreneurs and representatives of international organizations attending this meeting, and a special mention to the European Union delegates participating in this event. IICA strongly believes in the necessity of transforming food systems in the whole continent, but especially in the Caribbean. And for doing so, we precise to deepen the path and launch a strategy based on 4 pillars. First of all, we need long-term policies, perhaps with a more clear intersectoral approach to unleash a more intensive knowledge sector. Climate-smart agriculture, nutrition-smart agriculture, paying special attention to diversification, resilience, and social inclusion. Second pillar, science, and more science as a main input for having solid-based policies. Third pillar, strong public-private alliances. And last but not least, empower micro, small, and medium rural enterprises. They have to be the core of rural areas. We should be able to break the vicious circle in which poverty, exclusion, and migration permanently feed back. Instead, we must put in motion virtuous circles in which employment, inclusion, and wealth give rise to more prosperous rural areas. The transition has to be in the direction of bioeconomy and circular economy, which is a bridge between agriculture and environment. I'm extremely happy that our agreement signed in March with COLEACP is moving in the right direction. to the implementation of concrete plan of action, in which, besides bioeconomy, I would like to underscore the importance of agricultural health, safety and food quality, international trade, and a new approach in technology and innovation. This bi-monthly Agrifood series is focused on building entrepreneurship in the Caribbean. Let me emphasize that you are the real protagonist of agricultural transformation in this region. We are showcasing for companies, and there is also an expert panel which will provide expert advice and guidance regarding financing options. We anticipate that coming out of the sessions, both agencies would be able to hone in on the needs of micro, small, and medium enterprises and provide relevant and timely technical assistance. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, DG. And on my own behalf, let me, before introducing the General Delegate, Jeremy Knopps of COLEACP, let me recognize my partner in COLEACP, Isolina Boto, who will share the second half of the panels. So Jeremy Knopps, that General Delegate of COLEACP, you have the floor to bring welcome remarks.
Thank you, Ina, and thank you, Dr. Otero, for these welcoming remarks. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, fellow panelists. I'm of course very pleased to be with you today and to be able with IICA, with Dr. Otero and his team, to be able to launch this first session of what will be a series. Particularly humbled by the interest it has raised for a first session when we look at already the participants. And of course, a special thanks to the EU delegation, ABC Fund, Caribbean Export, who will be presenting later on during the first and second session. We, as COLEACP, we are a private sector, not-for-profit organization supporting sustainable and inclusive development of agri-food trade. Our members, the majority of our members are micro, small, medium enterprises focused in the fruit and veg value chain. And really from an operational standpoint, thanks to international donors such as the European Union, the Organization of the Africa, Caribbean, Pacific States. We manage some technical assistance programs, amongst which at the moment the Fit for Market programs, which provide basically technical assistance and training activities, mainly for the operators and their enabling environment to facilitate market access through compliance in a sustainable framework. Now, the context in which we are, we're already talking about, of course, post-COVID. We could almost say that we're still in a COVID
yeah.
situation, with challenges around the world which vary, but at the same time which have some common points. One of the lessons learned is that we were able to take stock and realize the importance of having really resilient systems, agri-food systems, and the importance of continuing to build this resilience of the agri-food systems, because in a times of crisis, that is when you realize usually what the most important things are, and what the most important things need to still be functioning. At the same time, in the times of crisis, there are some new opportunities arising, and it is a moment where we can take a step back and realize, in a time where, thanks to a highly disruptive environment, might be some new elements, some new parameters, which were probably already there before the crisis, but where we have seen an acceleration. And the whole idea behind the partnership, the strengthened partnership between IICA and COLEACP, is, well, in this context of COVID-19, and Dr. Otero has explained the main work streams, is to basically intensify this work to support MSMEs and agri-food systems towards a new, true sustainable model by focusing on facilitating access to local, regional, international markets, by working on, of course, the environmental dimension, by looking at innovation and technologies and facilitating the adoption, the transfer between actors, and also, of course, looking at some of the specificities we have in the Caribbean region, such as some links which can be established between different economic sectors, such as the tourism sector, which we know was particularly affected and which still is particularly affected, and the importance this sector might represent as a lever effect for agri-food businesses. Our vision at COLEACP is summarized by growing people. So this means that we focus all activities in this belief that to contribute to this new agri-food system, our contribution on our side will be by focusing mainly on building the human capital, the skills, competencies, and in order to really be able to do that, we need this complementarity between regions, complementarity between operators, complementarity between markets, complementarity between challenges and opportunities. And Dr. Otero mentioned the essence of these series, and first and foremost, it's also about facilitating connections between yourselves, and because at the end of the day, it's all about people. It's all about men and women who are taking the risks, who are entrepreneurs, and we're there to support these endeavors and these developments. Once again, thank you all. Thank you to everybody for being here today. Thank you, Dr. Otero, and all my fellow panelists today. I wish you all, of course, a very nice first session, and we'll be looking forward to hearing all the outcomes and build upon these outcomes into concrete actions on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And let me say that the presence of the Directors General of both IICA and COLEACP really is testament to the importance of these sessions and to our commitment as institutions working together to take this forward and to support MSMEs, build a network, and really make a difference in the sustainability and the livelihoods, especially of our MSMEs. I'm seeing a lot of information in the chat. Jeremy spoke about the interest this session has generated. Up to yesterday, we had 800 plus registrations. I should say bonjour, buenos dias to all of our participants from all over the world. Thank you so much. And this is an opportunity for us to make our South-South connections with Africa and the Pacific, which we have talked about a whole lot, but which can really happen at the level of the small businesses. Let me remind everyone to post their comments, their questions in the chat. And at the end, we will have the opportunity for some direct answers to these questions. And we also have presentations from all of our exciting MSMEs today. Some of the longer PowerPoint presentations will also be available to everyone. If you don't have a chance in today's session for getting your answers, your responses to your answers. So without any further ado, as time is short and I want to give maximum time to all of our presenters. We have 5 presenters actually this morning. We have an addition at very short notice, and let me thank Danielle for agreeing at very short notice to join us. And we're going to start with St. Lucia. Dunstan Demille, who is the perishables manager at Massey Stores. Massey is a very well-recognized and very large and influential distribution, wholesale and retail supplier across the Caribbean region. Without any further ado, Dunstan's biodata is in your chat. You can read it while he's presenting. Let me welcome Dunstan a friend of IICA, to the podium, well, to the meeting. And Dunstan, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Good morning to all. And I mean, after COVID hit, we haven't had that connection. So COLEACP and also IICA is making a really good connection that we could see one another's faces again, because every day is masks we have to be wearing. I'm not seeing the presentation there. Will the presentation be up?
Axel has started screen sharing, that's done. In the meantime, can I ask everybody to put their titles on their names in the participant list? Yes. Axel has started screen sharing.
I'm not seeing it, but I will continue. Okay. So when COVID-19 hit the world, I will just, thank you. I'm seeing it now. So we could go to the next slide. There was a number of challenges that we faced. And one of them was panic buying, unplanned. We had an unplanned shutdown in St. Lucia. Farmers were caught off guard for sure. We had contraction of the market. We had a number of health and safety concerns on recovery. And for the recovery, there were some emerging challenges. So we could move on, because I'll be very short. This is our managing director. And he had to come on television and explain to persons why we had to be rationing certain foods, that there was quantities persons could have buy at the store, and there were limits, right? So that we had to put in place. The next slide. We had to set up WhatsApp group for our team members and our farmers and other suppliers, because we noticed trying to reach everybody with a simple telephone call was not productive at that time because of the uncertainty. We had to be very, very strong on our protocols, as we have two buying depots, one in the north and one in the south. But I think we understood very early that if any of our staff got corona, what it meant to the farming sector. So from early, we set up some strict protocols and we stood by them, and I must say the farmers followed. We created a plan to resume buying, and in doing that, we had to speak to the ministry because there was an unplanned shutdown. We had to ask them to let us come in at least a day before so we could set up the department, get rid of some of the things that were spoiled, because we had product on hand, but we did not know, there would have been a shutdown, although some people knew. So some people were privileged with information. So before we resume the actual stores customers being able to go to the stores, we took a day to start buying from the farmers and get product to the store, right? Because if we didn't do that, people would get to the store and it was still empty. And after they had to stand on long lines, I didn't think that was the right thing to do. We could move to the next slide. Market access was a challenge for farmers because you find the closure of the hotel sector. A number of persons who were employed in the hotel sector or who were in the taxi sector, who were into farming before and they left it, were coming back to us. And we already had a number of farmers that, at that time could not sell their product. And farmers were actually going through the villages and giving away some of the produce. Massey made a strong commitment. Our department, our leadership team met, and we made a strong commitment that we will buy from our local farmers and we will help them in transforming that sector so that some of them could have achieved niche markets and we could get persons to go into non-traditional crop production. As you would see there, broccoli, cauliflower were not things we produce in St. Lucia, and have persons to package items. Way to the right, you're seeing there's a cocoa stick with ginger. We never had some of those things before. So there was some things we had persons to go into because everybody will come into us with the same thing and we could not purchase everything from them. So we also work closely with the marketing division of the Ministry of Agriculture, and there was a 7 Crops project with the help of the Taiwanese mission in St. Lucia. And we created what you call a premium corner for local produce at Massey stores. And later, we don't have time to show, video, but later we'll show you some of the other things we did in terms of working with the farming community and working with the Ministry of Agriculture. There were great uncertainty in terms of some of the challenges we faced. Well, they were asking us not to cut melons. So at that time, production was high on the island. At that time, we also had a drought. And at that time, farmers were not able to sell melons to us. So we, Massey, had to take it on our own and write to the ministry and tell them the situation and explain to them the challenges it causing, because we saw a number of persons selling on the roadside in unsanitary conditions. So it was creating a health issue and other things. So the link with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Taiwanese mission really paid off in terms of getting people to buy more local. And we made a decision, like we had things like mushroom production that was already good, and they stopped because of the hotel sector not being available to sell them. We made a strong commitment to them that we will buy everything they produce, and we had them to go back into production. And now all of that is going well. There's about 12 to 14 young men as re-employed, because of some of those moves. So we had television programs where we went and discussed some of the challenges we now see and what are the ways we are looking at dealing with them. So in short, this is what I wanted to share with you. Massey Stores made a strong commitment also with the manufacturing sector, our manufacturers, and that's the video that's there showing you, a press release on Massey Stores working with our small manufacturers, giving them more space on our shelves, working with some of the smaller ones to scale up production, or scale up the manufacturing so that they could get better market access. We really had an improved relationship with them, and the campaign continues. We had increased visibility at the stores of local products, and that will continue. And I can only see we're moving from strength to strength with that to help with the challenges in that sector. So let me thank you for this opportunity. I think the more we can share, the more we could get out of the challenges we face now. And I think we can do it together, because if we try doing it alone, I think we'll fail. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dunstan. And your last remarks were really important because it's about partnerships and networking along the entire agri-food chain. So let me thank you again, and thank you for keeping to time. Our next panelist is from Trinidad and Tobago, and he's Ravi Sanka of Caribbean Flavors. He's been in business for over 25 years, started as a one-man operation, and he now has over 100 employees. The products are well-known, and he's in over 27 markets. Pass it over to you now, Ravi, to share your story and your COVID successes.
Very good morning to hosts and participants from Trinidad. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about RHS. RHS is a leading agro-processor based in Trinidad and Tobago. We are manufacturers of a wide range of sauces, wet seasonings, flavorings, chutneys, concentrates for over 25 years. And we export to markets regionally, internationally. Maybe over 27 different markets we're in right now. We also have a distribution company based in Florida, which takes care of our US distribution and getting products out to markets that are very difficult to get into from the Caribbean. Under the RHS marketing umbrella, we have many brands which we produce, Caribbean Flavors being the primary brand, which we produce most of the sauces and seasonings and spices. Herrera's, we do a lot of flavorings and bakery products under the Herrera's brand. Rajapuri. It's a new brand that we launched last year during COVID, which mainly focuses on the spice range, curries and seasonings and so on. So the COVID, it created an impact on us. Basically, for us, there were some positive outcomes, and we just had to go with it as it comes. As a small business and food in food manufacturing, we are allowed to continue to operate as an essential business. And with the closure of a lot of the fast food outlets, restaurants, the consumers had to prepare their meals at home. And of course, a lot of them using social media started to look at recipes that were non-traditional and looking for spices and the seasonings and sauces to make their meals. And all our products became in demand in the supermarkets. We use the social media platforms to promote our products and demonstrate how it is used. And this proved to be very, very successful for us. And they as some of the companies or the competition, some of them had to close. We were able to fill gaps where the products were being was in demand, and we just filled those areas where the competitors couldn't get in. So of course our sales were up. We gained a lot of brand recognition. A lot of people who never used the brand before, there was an opportunity for them to try it. And we noticed that a lot of people who tried our products, they kept buying. So we're seeing that momentum is still there. So we've noticed how necessary it was to scale up by mechanizing and reducing the labor-intensive jobs. So in trying to supply supermarkets and even our export customers, we had to mechanize and increase capacity. So it was very easy for us we had a lot of reorganizing, expanding the production facility, and we are able to produce 3 times the amount of products that we were producing. In increasing our capacity and scaling up, more raw materials was required. So we engage farmers in increasing their output and be able to supply our demand. So a lot of seasonings, peppers, papaya, fruits, a lot of these things we were consuming, and the farmers were quite happy to supply us. Coming out of all of this, there were a lot of opportunities. We seized our business opportunities during this COVID-19 pandemic. For us, e-commerce sales increased, especially via Amazon, as many consumers turned to e-commerce platforms to purchase products, as they were reluctant to go out to the supermarkets. It was easy just to go on Amazon and purchase what you needed. Our distribution warehouse in Florida played an important role in shipping products to Amazon's warehouse in a timely manner. Shipping directly from Trinidad to Amazon, that would have posed a lot of problems, been very difficult to get products from here straight to Amazon in a timely manner. So that worked out pretty well for us. And then some of our product categories During that, we would have seen some spikes in March, April, May with certain products, especially CMOS, where a lot of consumers think that CMOS has a lot of benefits to combat COVID. And that a lot of that is still holding firm for us. So we've maintained good brand and product recognition on Amazon. Social media was one of the best forms of advertising, as most people were on their phones. Either they were on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, always surfing, looking for stuff. As they spend their time at home, we found that very useful. Coming out of all of this again, as the pandemic hit, our supply chain was interrupted. Clearing containers from the ports, customs not processing documents on time, shipping agents working from home slowed the entire process in getting our containers cleared on time and getting our export documents processed timely. We paid unnecessary rent and demurrage, and it increased the cost of our goods, raw materials, packaging, etc. It was difficult to secure many items for production, as many suppliers and factories were closed. We ended up shipping raw material or packaging out of China via FedEx, as we could not get ceilings. And as we know now, even still, the price of shipping out of the Far East, it increases every week. And that is still creating a lot of issues and sending up our prices. So at some point, I don't know where this is going to stop, but there's only so high you can increase prices for consumers. Following the COVID protocols, following all the protocols was a challenge with keeping staff, keeping them aware of the situation, reminding them to wear their mask, to keep apart, and it was constant training. So that was a challenge for us, because if we had gotten any cases, it would have been, we would have had to close for a period of time. And so we tried to follow as much as we could. We implemented a shift system in order to minimize the amount of staff in the factory to still get the production output that we needed. Because at the end of the day, the customers call, you have export orders, you really want to fulfill that. So we tried our best to keep production going as much as possible. And I think areas of support, intellectual property or protecting your brand is very important for us as small and medium businesses, because it's very costly to register brands. And as you export and you increase your market, you need to register your brand in each of these territories, especially the non-traditional ones where we probably just started to get access to, but don't have any registrations there. And then certification or standards such as BRC, FSSC, HACCP, etc. is a key to easy access into markets. As many potential distributors are asking if we have any certification. And being certified will give the competitive edge, as distributors will have more confidence in the brands and the company itself. But this is a very costly exercise to actually put these certifications in place. Market promotion, accessibility. This again is very costly via trade promotions, B2B, exposure at trade shows. And this plays an important role in getting our brands out there, getting recognized, securing distributors, and actually just getting a little piece of the market to experience, for consumers out there to experience what are the products that comes out of Trinidad. So this basically is my experience in a nutshell. I try to touch on as much points as I could, although there are a lot of other things that we experienced during that time. So just want to be short, and I welcome any questions, and I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Very interesting, and really giving a peep into how you have to operate on the ground in the factory to face the COVID challenges. We have participants from Zimbabwe, Uganda, Ghana, Jamaica, all over the Caribbean, Kenya, Togo, and I am sure that there will be networking opportunities, South-South opportunities with buyers and researchers and the persons who can get you access to markets all over the world through this type of forum. Let me thank you once again and introduce our next panelist from Guyana. And it's a husband and wife team. The husband is representing today, Aditya Prasad and Diana Prasad, and they have started Aria's Fresh Cut. I met with Aditya on a UV packaging webinar recently and was blown away by the types of things that they are doing at Aria's. So I don't want to steal his thunder. The floor is yours, Aditya.
All right. Again, good morning, DG and everyone else this morning. And a very pleasant good morning to all. You said from all parts of the world, I guess, this morning. And I'll just share with you our little story of Aria's Fresh Cut. And I go right ahead. So I'll just go to the next slide and then tell you as the story started. It started as a brainchild of my wife, Diana. Basically preparation of daily meals, and then went into a conversation, then a business idea. Then we moved into testing it ourselves. And being an agronomist myself, it was very, very easy to know exactly what to do and how to do it. So I had no difficulty on that end. A researcher, an agronomist, and my science background and my exposure and working with places like IICA, FAO, and these other entities, spending time in Costa Rica, learning what they did over there, spending time in China, spending time in Japan, seeing what was going on, all of this coming back, and I brought all of it home, and then eventually decided to put all of it in a package. That went from the little thought process over dinner into what is now a business with almost 30 something employees. So we to the next slide, we're going to show you how it goes. After working with the vegetables and stuff, we decided to choose the name. Then the name Arias was chosen. Arias meaning noble. It was also the middle name of my second daughter. So basically, the name has in it the little baby child that was born to us, and it became it's Sanskrit in origin for those who may want to know the language. And then we move into actual production. Started very small, like my friend who just started on his one-man operation. We basically started on a husband and wife team, eventually making the news because it was the first of a type of its kind in Guyana, where stuff was pre-packaged, freshly delivered to supermarkets, kept in all the necessary condition. The next slide, please. And we then started to up the game into the other supermarkets, extending it into other supermarkets around the city. So we basically told our consumers, listen, this is convenience in a package. You don't have to worry about spoilage. You don't have to worry about unclean produce. You don't have to worry about all the necessary requirements were met, the local requirements. We basically hand select this. It was not done by machine initially. It was graded, it's triple wash, oxygenated washing was done, all of this thing, and then, you know, processed, packaged, and delivered to supermarkets. So we'll go to the next slide. And it is after we started doing it, we started to make connections with the various entities or the big sellers in Guyana, like you have the Massey group of companies. So we started receiving mentorship from the big guys here, the Bounty Farms, Bounty Supermarkets, Survival Supermarkets, the Bihari group of company, Baron Products out of St. Lucia, Umami out of Guyana, and of course Massey Stores, who, you know, is also on board with us. So this kind of mentorship, not just mentorship for the packaging, but the marketing aspect, how they want it, what they wanted, what they're looking for, what their consumers are asking for, and whatever was fed into their system, it was then fed into our system. So we created that bond basically with the supermarkets, with the outlets, and then started growing this business from the point. It is just 6 years, if I may, 6 years old. Aria's Fresh Cut. Next slide, please. We then looked at the support we were getting, and strong support was given from all of these persons. We can keep rolling the slide. I want to try to keep in the timeline. So all of the support that we got was positive. And then here you can see we then went to work with the farmers, not just our own farm, but other farmers who were with us. We invested in small things like the tiller you're seeing there. So instead of this guy in the white shirt on your left having to take a fork that in a traditional way, we brought with to them mechanical tillers to help them to develop and grow their produce easier. We then installed drip lines, drip irrigation system for them, and all this simple but more modern end technique than what they were accustomed to. And all of our farmers, they were very adaptive. You can see here the sprinklers down there in the papa. So you had range of papayas, the hot peppers, different fruits and vegetables were grown to meet our market. And then we start selling the concept of farm to doorstep to people. So from farm to doorstep, you can just let us know. That started with a WhatsApp prior to COVID. And if you go to the next slide, prior to COVID, we started with a WhatsApp kind of a information. Some places were, like some companies, the mining companies, they wanted their bok choy like the one you're seeing on your right. They wanted it freshly picked, harvest, packaged in bulk, and then handed to them. Then some of them wanted the string bean, or the bodi we say in Trinidad and bora in Guyana. They wanted it pre-cut like this, packaged and delivered in bulk, and then some wanted it smaller. So again, from farm to doorstep concept, we were moving food from our farms to people's doorstep, but it was done through WhatsApp and through orders on the phone and all of that. Next slide. We can run the images. So you're seeing here, in the chillers, we were packing these, like the okra was done. You're seeing the same crate that was used in Massey earlier. Some folks wanted their stuff like in these net bags. And then we went ahead, the media started to hitting on us, started finding out more about us, and then taking us onto the mainstream media in Guyana, the Guyana Chronicle, the Starbuck News, the Kaituo News, these mainstream media, taking Guyanese this supermarket aisles by storm, finding the fresh and most convenient packaged vegetable. This is what was selling back then. So you were seeing this, this is actually, this was taken from June 6, 2015. You can see in the little right up there. So this was the message since in 2015. Eventually, like I said, all supermarkets were on board. We started with basic small quantities, like very small quantities of items, 6-7 packs of a single item initially, to moving into thousands and thousands of packs eventually, currently today. and handling this entire city and east coast of Demerara, east bank of Demerara markets. Can you go to the next slide, please? So you're seeing these are more of the media, what the media was saying about us. Next slide. This is another media report from another outlet, and so you're all seeing this. So where we are today, and this is where I want to come to, so that I don't bore you. But where we are today, from the moment COVID stepped in, I moved that entire platform from a WhatsApp and phone call and just regular delivery to supermarket into Guyana's first online fresh food and whole food vegetable store. You can now go on our website and you can do exactly like what Ravi said. He's putting his on Amazon, and maybe you have your own website, Ravi. But in Guyana here, what we did is build this. We actually bought the back end of Amazon, the similar software and the similar mechanism that they're using, and we introduced it here. And we've seen so much. It was so fast for COVID. We didn't even have to sell this. We didn't even have to put too much emphasis into it. The moment this was spreading like, what do they say? Is it like chocolate cake maybe on people's WhatsApp? It was all over the place, and WhatsApp forwarding, and everybody was ordering, and their foods were being delivered in very timely manner, less than 48 hours delivery. So housewives, the ladies at the office, the husbands on the road, busy guys, taxi, everybody was now starting to go on their phone and getting their orders straight to them. And when putting that order, they know for sure they're getting it. They're not going to get an if or but. And if an item is not available, our staff was efficient enough to pull that one off the website. So you're not going to click on papaya and then somebody going to call you 5 minutes after and say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have papaya. The moment we know papaya is off, it's off the website. So you can't even order it. And it was that kind of mechanism, and it still is alive and well today as we speak. So it remains Guyana first online fresh food store, RS Fresh Cut, and you can go there and click and see all the prices. You get your bill immediately. You get similar to shopping on Amazon. You get an email confirming your order as soon as you place it, and then you know your amount. Unfortunately for us here in Guyana, we don't have, the banks are not yet putting in the payment online system with most of the local persons. So we do a COD method, cash on delivery, and that's it. I mean, that's where we are. So this is post COVID and post COVID, what we did to transform the entire thing. So farming and agriculture is not anymore seen in Guyana as something something that is of the past kind of thing where you have to have a shovel and fork situation. We have moved it from there, and I'm very, very pleased and happy to see for the first time what Ravi Sam did in Trinidad. I'm really impressed with that, Ravi, I must say. And it is exciting to know that that is happening at that level. We are here pushing with this fresh, and we are moving in the next few mornings with our line of processed foods and whole foods and vegetables. Our next slide. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya. We're seeing innovation, technology, access to markets, use of social media, innovation in expanding production lines, links right back to farmers and right up to the consumer, from farm to doorstep, from farm to table. I just wanted to make a comment with Ravi that he's using a chef, and IICA is in fact developing a Chefs for Development network. You look out for the website. This year, we're launching an exciting network across the Caribbean and including Africa and the Pacific. So all the African countries who are online, we're looking to have your chefs in our ACP Chefs for Development network. Our next speaker has a passion for healthy living, and he comes from the oil sector, but with a strong record of brand building and devotion to our local foods. He's Kerwin Cragwell, Director of Buana Business, Trinidad and Tobago. Kerwin, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I want to thank you guys for having us. Thank you, IICA. Thank you, COLEACP, ACP. Thank you very much. And to all the other panelists, good information. And to all the other countries on board, thank you very much. This is our first opportunity on a stage like this, so I want to make sure I give my thanks. Well, at Buana, we focus on helping people getting good options and eating healthy. We have a concept of pouch to pot. It's easy, and we try to give our customers the best product possible. Next slide, please. All right. These are samples and these are some of our products that we have in most of the supply chains and groceries in Trinidad and Tobago. Our concept, first let me step back a bit. This business is 2 years and 6 months. We have done a lot based on feedback and what we have seen for ourselves in marketing and brand awareness in Trinidad and Tobago. One of our strategies that we use is we don't just produce a product. We look for we find products for our customers. That's one of our strong points. So we see where the opportunities are and we try and take advantage of that. Another thing we do is we add as much efficiency in whatever product we use. Whatever product we try and squeeze out waste, as much waste as possible. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Right. Now, purpose of this meeting is how Buana adapted through the pandemic that the whole world is seeing. And trust me, we have had our challenges, raw material, packaging, distribution. We have had our challenges. What we did is we try to take every challenge and opportunity and see how best we can add value to that and not take it as a setback, but figure out how do we use it as a stepping forward. So the action that we did was we contacted farmers. We had more buying power, and we contacted more farmers, negotiated price down. We utilized some of the, what is the word to use, kitchens. There's a project in Trinidad, school feeding program, and they had certified kitchens that will prepare meals for the schools. They were down when schools closed. So we use some of those kitchens to prepare soon. We try to focus on steady, constant production, not lump sum production with the uncertainties. So we kind of, what is it to use, quicken our production output and not bulk up and a bit overstock to keep price down and to keep fresh products on the shelves. Next slide, please. Challenges faced. Lockdowns, an increase in demand and supply. I mean, our product, every day we get new calls, people wanting the product. Demand is growing, and keeping up with it is pretty difficult. Again, we don't want to overstock, yet we need to keep supplying our customers. So managing that balance is a tricky part for us. We took this shutdown opportunity to focus on improving our brand and our brand awareness and export. We had an online presence before COVID. We just strengthened that throughout COVID-19. We had some collaborations with a number of other entrepreneurs to do like mixed pack with them. We already know to work with an organization to do a shared pouch with our products and theirs. What else? Next slide, please. this is what I would like guys to take away. Giving up is not an option. We saw every challenge as an opportunity on how we can grow this business and grow this brand. We adopted a business model that allowed us to pivot and change our directions based on the needs of our customers. And we always pay attention to what the customer wants and what our competitors are doing. And we evaluate and we take our investments in those directions to get the best outcome for our business. Again, we're only 2 years, 6 months, and I see a bright future for us as our products are quite unique. Again, it's pouch. The pot is the concept, so just open your pouch and in less than 20 minutes you can have a perfect meal. That's the concept. That's
it. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, Cohen. Sorry. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Cohen. From pouch to pot, farm to table, farm to doorstep. This is the direction we're going in, and we're seeing a lot of COVID champions, and we're learning the challenges. Our final speaker this morning believes in making healthy, fun, delicious, and convenient. She's Danielle Thompson, and she's the CEO of Nature My Therapy from Jamaica. Welcome, Danielle. You have the floor.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who, allowed us to be here. This is my first time presenting at such a forum, and I'm excited to represent my company, Nature My Therapy. Nature My Therapy, we indeed want to make healthy, delicious, and fun. So I'm waiting on my presentation to come up. Do we have the first slide ready? All right. Oh, okay, no, that's not it. Or
Danielle, I think we might have a challenge with the video, but
okay.
Continue speaking, and if it works, if not.
Okay. I'm trying to get access to, would you allow me to share my screen? All right, great. We can pull it right back to the front, perfect. All right, so this is the journey of Nature My Therapy during the pandemic. For this period, what we have learned as a small company in Jamaica, we are 5.5, call it 6 years old in a few months. We have learned flexibility and adaptability is the name of the game. Being small allows us to pivot and to really address the micro needs of the nature of the environment at this time. Health is the supreme focus as we've moved into a space of needing to be well. And it aligns with our mission, which is to provide vegan, plant-based options that are healthy and nutritious. We disrupted the food industry when we merged by actually providing vegan organic options and highlighting that vegan, that farming sustainably, permaculture farming is the way to move forward, and it could be profitable, it could be fun, and these products could be sexy. So in this list on the screen here, you'll see that we do the teas, the shots, the popsicles, the juices, all cold pressed. And we wanted to give the flavor of the islands with a very first world look, utilizing the talent right here on the island. So what we opted to do when the pandemic hit and everything slowed down was actually to focus on our product development and innovation. We had a lot of things in the pipeline, and we realized that our physical locations, 4 of which had to be closed due to the profitability relative to the rent. So we needed a return on our investment, and we decided close the physical locations, all but 2 outlets, and focus on online sales. So that's where location is important. And you will see on the next slide, right? One more to the right. Location is super important. And we decided to move into a space of using Shopify for our online store, which allows us to get certain metrics of our sales, of where our customers are viewing us from and to track our progress. So we use tools such as Instagram, Facebook. We've recently merged on Twitter to really get into the households of our customers, to access them, make it convenient for them, and also utilize these social media tools to be able to see where the metrics are, see what the needs of the consumers really truly are. So we're able to do polls, get feedback, and build a personal relationship, because at this time where social distancing measures are being strictly enforced, you really want to be able to maintain personal relationships with your customers. So they should be able to feel that your company is a part of their family and their needs will be met and their concerns will be heard. So we've capitalized on that, because right now, it's most important for a brand to be engaging and to meet the needs of the customers. So just highlighting the Canva app, which is really useful in creating content. It allows you and your team to work remotely. Trello is another really great app, just throwing in some nuggets right here that you can use to coordinate, because another challenge that we faced during the emergence of COVID and navigating it over a year now is that the team has not been able to meet physically quite as much. So we need to use technology and apps to truly monitor what's going on and to also do team building and feel connected. With our farmers, we've also not only had a pandemic, but we will all know in the Caribbean we experience seasons of drought, seasons of flooding. And to be able to traverse that landscape, we've relied on contract growing, building the awareness in our customers to support our farmers, even outside of the produce that we contract them to grow, and to show them the importance of growing organically. So that puts us forward, since many people are using fertilizers and other chemicals which are necessary for their style. We've used that to our advantage to say we have sugar-free, chemical-free, and we're also vegan. When you move on, right, here we are. So that was our supply chain relationship, making sure that we've maintained very positive relationship with our farmers, because right now is ripe. We have different seasons of fruit, so we maintain a seasonal supply of different products. So every customer knows that they'll be able to access what is truly in season. And we also use social media to help persons understand the benefit of each product, the ingredients, and why it is that it would be necessary for them to have it for their body, for their families, and also to promote the lifestyle of wellness. And each platform in your own business, you can look and see how it fits in, whether it is the Facebook, which is more a family orientation, Instagram, which is entertainment, and links through Twitter. Utilize each one to truly be able to reach different audiences. And it also provides the opportunity for the next point, which is product development and innovation. Getting the research, getting the opinions, and then tailoring your products to fit the market. And then brand collaboration has also been a tremendous opportunity for us. We've been able to collaborate with small and medium businesses on events, on information dissemination, on product packages, and also opportunities for pop-up shops, which has been extremely exciting, meeting people, getting samples out to them, and also sales. Another thing with collaboration, it allows you to see who your brand is aligned with, and both of you build strength. So we follow the 80-20 rule. 80-20 value before the 20% of us selling. Now, selling and profit and bottom line is really important, but also issues of education, so that you will be able to show what your company is doing for the environment, for your country, for the body, and then people buy into that. So it becomes a mutually beneficial experience. And to close, even though we've had challenges, we've also had opportunities, and we focused on being flexible, we focused on being adaptable, we focused on truly ensuring that our products are meeting the needs of the environment, that we are also at the cutting edge of what is needed for the body. So we keep up on our medical research. We monitor the metrics, which again, as I said, Shopify has been extremely helpful in being able to see where your customers are coming from. In one of the slides, you'll be able to access after, you'll see where from Jamaica, you have a certain amount of clicks on engagement from the US, from China, from the United Kingdom, you'll be able to see where your customers or your potential customers are coming from so that you can tailor. We've been working on moving into the market with which products with a longer shelf life. Again, we use no preservatives. So our method of preserving is freezing and also dried products. And this has allowed us to have real conversations about export and explore those export possibilities. Where there's always a Venn diagram that exists. And this COVID environment has allowed us to truly see where you have intersections in different areas of the market. Some that you probably never expected would have been a brand alignment. So look out for those positions of power that you have and how you can empower other brands. And this is going to be a very mutually beneficial experience. Ensure the health of yourself, your team, is of optimal importance, because right now we also want, with our brand, we rebranded as therapy, to bring awareness to the fact that mental health, total body health is also very important. So the team being healthy, or relationships being healthy, or growth strategy benefiting the environment and being healthy has been how we have navigated this space. And thank you again for being here. And we're excited to be at this point in the fourth industrial revolution as a small business.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And let me say a special thanks for coming on at the last minute and providing so many nuggets of information, and for your positivity and your encouragement to everyone. Let me thank all of the excellent presentations this morning, all our panelists. You've given us the real life on the ground view of your COVID successes and your challenges. And I'm going to turn over to my dear colleague, Isolina Boto, who is going to chair the next panel, which will give us insights from partners and experts on finance, technology, etc., etc. Over to you, Isolina.
Thank you very much, Ina. And again, thank you. Welcome again, everybody. Thank you very much for joining from very different parts of the world, and for the lively comments you are putting in the chat. I encourage you actually to put more questions and more comments, and when we get to the question answer part, we will move ahead. So indeed, this second panel is more about the ecosystem in which the SMEs operate as well. Even if they do very well by themselves, they still need the right policies, the right finance, the right support, like IICA, COLEACP, of course, Caribbean Export and others provide in terms of technical assistance, trainings, etc. So I will invite now Jose Torres. He's in Colombia right now. He covers Latin America and the Caribbean for Bamboo Capital, and he will also talk about the ABC Fund. He's a senior investment manager with a lot of experience on finance. So Jose, you have heard some, of the operators in the Caribbean who, despite the challenges we know, the normal challenges plus the challenges in the COVID-19 times, they managed to survive. They even expanded. They were very creative from a finance perspective, knowing that there are possibilities out there, but that the SMEs sometimes struggle, to access the funds. What kind of insights can you give us from your experience on finance, and of course also from the ABC Fund? Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Isolina, and greetings to everybody, ladies and gentlemen, from Colombia, where the regional office for Bamboo Capital Partners is one of the managers of the ABC Fund, which stands for Agribusiness Capital Fund, and we're essentially focused towards improving the livelihoods of small-scale farmers. So if there's a key entry point to what the ABC Fund does, you have to ask the question of to what extent your work is related with small-scale farmers along the food value chain. That being said, certainly, as Isolina was mentioning, COVID-19 has posed several challenges for businesses. Nevertheless, we have come across and actually quite a surprising sort of phenomena with the small scale farmer population, at least in Latin America and some of the Caribbean opportunities that we have explored, and is the resilience of the small scale farmer population, which I think is a very interesting building block to the potential and the sort of interesting things that can be done, building up from the bottom up with the small scale agricultural population. We at the ABC Fund are clearly interested in addressing the whole food value chain from production all the way up to commercialization, and we do expect to support businesses with debt financing or equity financing. However, as of now, the ABC Fund is rather new, and we're prioritizing debt facilities for companies that essentially require either working capital or capital investments for upscaling their businesses or catalyzing their activities, and hence creating a more sustainable business, but essentially helping support the small scale farmer population. So some of the challenges actually have to do with the way these small businesses and actors in the agri value chain have managed to adapt with all the restrictions and several of the challenges that were mentioned by the previous panelists in terms of distribution, challenges of physical contact, of things that have driven businesses to sort of think out of the box and how to keep their activities up and running, and therefore having a sustainable sort of a financial outcome. In this sense, we look for businesses that are clearly profitable, that have had a track record of a business model that works, that is proven, that has all the elements outstanding for a long-term sustainability perspective. But also we take a careful attention from the governance perspective of how these businesses are managed and how they actually sort of commit to working with the small scale farmer population, and also drive their decisions towards a long-term commitment with the small scale farmer, but also on sort of having a broader reach to international markets, or even national or local markets with an increased value offer. So talking about challenges in this perspective, the ABC Fund is sort of self-conceived as a catalyzer of these businesses, but at the same time, it's also an actor that will demand a lot from the companies in terms of dedication, effort on putting up a proposal that will make the business work for both parties. The ABC Fund essentially is an investment fund that is looking for investment returns for its investors. We manage funds from various actors, private and multilateral actors, in which we need to deliver financial returns as well as social returns. And in this sense, we do take a careful attention on the process and how to frame a good business proposal and make it work. On previous occasions, we've talked about that working with the ABC Fund is actually a bit like getting married, and it has a lot of elements that require good preparation, having a clear sense of where you're going, and actually building a project together. That's the way we see it, and it's a long-term commitment, but it's not easy. It requires time, it requires a lot of information, clear communication of expectations, of the things that work, of the things that do not work. And in that sense, the first sort of element we want to work on when developing a relationship is building trust and making sure that we can work with each other. That being said, we provide working capital facilities, capital investment facilities for different types of businesses, SMEs, financial intermediaries, or other actors in the food value chain. So more than welcome to discuss further any details if you have any questions about that.
Thank you very much, Jose. So we will anyway share the link to the ABC fund on the conditions and the criteria to access loans. Thank you for telling us as well that you are very much inclined to support businesses in the region if they, of course, respond to the criteria. And we will, of course, follow up bilaterally and as well ourselves as organizations as to support, SMEs in the region in whatever market they are operating. So thank you very much. I'm sure there will be specific questions as well. So with no transition, Sheldon Jackman, thank you very much for being with us from Barbados EU delegation, where you work. The European Union delegation there covers the ECS, so ECS, CARICOM and CARIFORUM issues. So you work specifically and you have a lot of experience at the EU and in your previous work on all related to trade, SPS, non-tariff barriers, of course, trade facilitation and so on. So it will bring us a very, very good insights. Of course, as Jeremy said at the beginning, the EU is an invaluable partner for all of us, and in particular the private sector and the SMEs from a different angle. So we are very, very happy to have you here today. So Sheldon.
Thank you very much, Isolina. I believe the topic that I was going to touch on this morning was to give some insight as to what conditions work best for the replicability and upscaling of successful businesses, and what incentives and supports needs to be provided to SMEs to build resilience to perform in a post-COVID environment. Now, as you touched in your introduction, when you talk about conditions, it's really about the business ecosystem and how it supports businesses, and in our context, small and medium-sized enterprises. And that ecosystem would comprise of actors and institutions that the private sector would need to engage in and interact with in the course of commerce. And they also support SMEs in terms of growth and competitiveness, as well as provide standards and guidelines. Your ecosystem would also involve things like your IT infrastructure and your transport infrastructure. The framework that should really look towards easing the course of business. What you would find is that in terms of a best practice conditions or ecosystems that would contribute to developing competitive businesses are the ones that form very strong networks between the SMEs and those institutions that are there to work with the SMEs and support SMEs. And strong networks are important because they provide a platform for a constant exchange of information. And in business, you would find that businesses would see, apart from access to finance, access to relevant, accurate, and timely information on the marketplace, on export markets are critical. And the information, of course, flows both ways. So you'll find that a lot of these supporting actors in the ecosystem, once they have close contact with these businesses, would be able to respond to their needs and respond to the prevailing conditions that SMEs may face and adjust their services to suit. But we understand in reality that things don't always work that way. We don't always have strong networks. Another best practice for a condition that supports competitive business is one that actually devise a medium and long-term plan in terms of sustainable and inclusive growth for businesses. So there's a common plan that all actors work towards in supporting business. An ecosystem that focuses on integrating information technology, integrating innovation is also critical. You'll find in markets such as Ireland, for example, there's been efforts in working with universities and academia, along with the private sector, to come up with innovative ways to produce new products and services to the market, and this has worked well for them. So what has happened, though, the conditions to which the ecosystem operates has been affected by COVID-19 in many ways. Now, based on the previous speakers, you would hear about some of the demand side and supply side disruptions from COVID-19. So you see on the supply side, you had a reduction in labor, reduction in supply, and a reduction in the supply chain and productivity as well. And on the demand side, markets have been shrinking in some areas. You have job losses, reduced income, and reduced consumer spending. But another phenomenon that has been brought about by COVID-19 is this rapid acquisition or use of digital strategies for commerce. So you'll find more and more businesses using social media and other digital platforms to promote their businesses. And this is because they do provide a number of advantages. So these platforms, these e-platforms now give businesses a more seamless facility to interact with their customers. They're able to expand their online presence more seamlessly and quite cost effectively than traditional media. They're able to grow their market presence more efficiently online. They're able to collaborate with other businesses to provide enhanced services. So what you've seen quite recently, for example, in cases of supermarkets, they have now teamed up with delivery services online. So you can literally order your goods from the supermarket and the delivery service would deliver that to your doorstep. And other various multiplicities of examples can show that this new e-commerce strategy is very beneficial, but there are also disadvantages because you may have small businesses who may not be able to be in the position to really adapt quickly to this new eco strategy. They may rely heavily on the traditional brick and mortar type of business, and as a result, they are left out in the cold. And especially when they face market conditions where larger businesses who are well more resourced can in fact use their resources to dominate the market and utilize the e-services more efficiently and effectively. In addition, some of these small businesses just don't have the capacity, the financial and human capacity to quickly adopt these e-commerce strategies. So as a result, the support system, the conditions to which many of these small businesses operate and the actors that are present to support these businesses must change to adopt new strategies in this post-COVID time. Apart from trying to solve these supply and demand side issues, they must find strategies to support businesses in support small businesses in acquiring this new e-commerce reality. And so as a result, what has the EU done to support the business ecosystem in the region? And I think that's a major question here. The EU, primarily through the private sector development program that has been implemented by Caribbean Export, and I know I have a colleague from Caribbean Export who will speak right after me, so I won't go too much into detail, but I just want to give an overview. I know Caribbean Export under the 11th EDF Development Fund has been working a lot with the private sector to determine what their needs are in this new COVID reality. And I think they've done a good job in teasing out what are the main issues and developing tools to support the private sector. So I know within recent times, there's been a lot of focus on training the private sector to adapt, to retool, on how to minimize losses and to rebound after the aftermath of the pandemic. There have also been a number of training and capacity building exercises on providing cost and financial management strategies through the COVID-19 period and beyond, and how businesses can continue in times of crisis, and how they can really develop strategies to ensure that the supply chain is reconnected. I think most importantly here as well, the EU has worked to redirect a number of funds for various programs to the Regional Private Sector Development Fund, because we realized that SME growth is critical for the region. And if small businesses, if medium-sized businesses don't grow, the economic impact could be very serious. So we reorganized funds and we concentrated those funds into the Private Sector Development Fund. And as a result, Caribbean Export has recently afforded a number of non-reimbursable grants to over 63 firms. And these firms are now using these funds to inject directly into their operations to address various issues that may have come about as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. But coming back to the digital phenomena, Caribbean Export has also been looking at training and building capacity among SMEs in terms of e-commerce. What are the good global practices, how to develop a good e-commerce strategy, and integrating the e-commerce into the whole shipping and distribution operations of the business. I know someone spoke about the need for further export promotion and trade promotion. There's been a focus on the virtual trade shows, because we understand because of the pandemic, there has been a reduction in movement of people. So what Caribbean Export has done is basically use this virtual means to bring buyers and sellers together, which is very important. But moving quickly along, apart from its focus on the private sector, the EU has also been working under the 11th EDF to ensure that the entire ecosystem is supported by way of ensuring that the private sector has the ability to overcome some of the common hurdles that they may face in operating and trade. So under 11th EDF, we have programs that focus on technical barriers to trade, that's in labeling and packaging, and other standards. We have the SPS, which is the food safety issues that many of you may be aware of. We have another component that we are that is currently being rolled out regionally, that focuses on innovation and intellectual property. And this really focuses on ensuring that businesses in the region understand the importance of intellectual property, and they use it as a strategy to increase their competitiveness in the wider export market. I just want to wrap up quickly because I know time is going, but I just wanted to mention under the standby facility, which is another project on the 11th EDF managed by the Caribbean Development Bank. The EU has been recently providing funds to projects that use digital platforms to ease the course of business. So for example, quite recently, there was a project launched in Barbados that saw online port community system that brought together all the operations in the port into one digital platform where all stakeholders would have access to. And this would effectively increase the efficiency and transparency in goods clearance and trading processes at the Barbados port. In Trinidad and Tobago, we recently launched, or we will recently launch, online trade facilitation portal. And this will give all actors access to real-time information on understanding what has to take place if they are to trade the goods to a new market. And then there's another project called Integrated Border Management System in the OECS, which also capitalizes on use of existing customs and immigration databases and other databases to ease the movement of persons within that sub-regional sector. So in closing, I just want to emphasize that the EU does understand the importance of supporting the conditions for SME growth, for competitiveness, and will continue to do so in the future by focusing on digitalization strategies, e-government, as well as supporting businesses in the region that who themselves work to promote digital business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sheldon, for that comprehensive presentation. It included a lot of the Caribbean exports. So I'm sure that Janelle Murray Noel, who is our last speaker from Caribbean Export, very knowledgeable on technical assistance, training, but also finance, with a lot of interest and professional experience on the support to MSMEs. Thank you very much for joining. So if you could just give us some insights without, of course, getting back to what Sheldon has said, on what according to you are the skills that really the MSMEs need to acquire or upgrade to just expand, more into markets, and especially on the high-end products as well, to move on getting, of course, more value and creating more employment and supporting the local economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Isolina, and thank you, IICA and COLEACP, for inviting us to present at this seminar. I'm going to share my screen with you at this time. And this morning, we want to just look at a bit about finance and investment. And before I get into the meat of the matter, I just want to tell you a little bit about Caribbean Export, who we are and what we do. Essentially, Caribbean Export was established in, one moment, please. In 1996 as the Trade Development and Investment Promotion Agency of the 15 CARIFORUM states. And our mission is to enhance the competitiveness and value of Caribbean brands through the delivery of transformative and targeted interventions in export development and investment promotion. We are proud to partner with the CARICOM Secretariat and the European Union in promoting the sustainable development of the CARIFORUM states. And the agency is currently implementing, as Sheldon would have mentioned, the 11th EDF, Regional Private Sector Development Program, which seeks to contribute to the gradual integration of CARIFORUM countries into the world economy, enhancing regional economic growth and by extension, alleviate poverty. We enhance the competitiveness of regional small and medium-sized enterprises through training and capacity building, access to finance, export promotion, export development, advocacy, and investment promotion. And the sectors that we focus on are agro-processing, creative industries, specialized tourism, manufacturing, information technology, renewable energy, and investment promotion. Now, as my colleagues before me have said, the economic crisis generated by the coronavirus pandemic is having a major impact on the countries of Latin America and the Caribbean. Statistical models of the world economy estimate that the region may lose between 6.3% and 14.4% of gross domestic product over the 2019 to 2021 period relative to the baseline projections. Now, we do understand that support to struggling businesses and their workers has been a central part of government's economic relief strategies throughout the pandemic, such as deferring payments, facilitating access to credit, and offering grants or subsidies. However, up against the reality of a constrained fiscal space, many Latin American and Caribbean countries have faced challenges in providing adequate support to SMEs. And as a critical source of employment and a lifeline of economic prosperity, because we know SMEs are the engine of growth in most of our economies, it is essential that we work to support SMEs on the path to recovery. However, small businesses also have a part to play in their recovery. Globalization and the rapid technological changes in the workplace have demanded that small businesses in all sectors of the economy be flexible and invest in the upskilling and training of their workforce to remain competitive in a global economy. To attain this level of competitiveness, workers must be lifelong learners who will continue to increase their knowledge and update their skills. And this is essential for employability, business success, growth, and ultimately poverty reduction, right? Now, when it comes to access to finance, unfortunately, small businesses are riskier than the larger businesses, as you may very well know, which makes traditional financing institutions think twice before approving a small business application for a loan, right? Therefore, small businesses are challenged to seek alternative financing mechanisms for their business recovery and growth. Short of borrowing from family and friends, which is by no means an unattractive alternative, mind you, Some other alternatives may be grant financing and angel investing. Now, on the matter of grant financing, like Sheldon would have said, we launched the Technical Assistance Program on May 31st, and it is a grant facility financed by both Caribbean Export and the European Union through the 11th EDF and Caribbean Development Bank. And the objectives of the Technical Assistance Program are to provide direct support to the region's SMEs on a non-reimbursable basis, to provide support to facilitate activities focusing on business continuity, to facilitate the increase of exports within the Caribbean and or international markets, and to capitalize on the benefits of bilateral or multilateral arrangements within the region or with ACP or EU partners, right? Now, the minimum amount that you can apply for is 5,000 US, while the maximum amount is 15,000 US. You may visit our website, that's Caribbean Exports website, for more information on eligibility and how to apply. But I would say here that the real skills required to take advantage of grant financing are proposal writing skills and project management skills. Entrepreneurs need to understand how to write winning proposals so that they may succeed in being awarded a grant. Furthermore, entrepreneurs who are awarded a grant need some measure of project management skills to undertake the project activities and manage the grant resources and the relevant human resources within a specified time. Now, regarding angel investment, angel investment is a form of equity financing where the investor supplies funding in exchange for an equity position in the company. Equity financing is normally used by startup businesses that do not have sufficient cash flow or collateral with which to secure business loans from financial institutions. And angel investors are typically high net worth individuals who are looking for a higher rate of return on their investments, typically around 25 to 60%, right? But in the region, angel investors have often complained about a lack of deal flow. Entrepreneurs or founders typically do not understand angel investing and what it entails because it is still a relatively nascent concept in the region. And entrepreneurs who are interested in angel investing need to understand the fundamentals of angel investing and what to expect when an angel investor is interested in an equity stake in their businesses. Beyond that, while entrepreneurs may have bankable business ideas, they do not understand how to do proper valuations and how to develop pitch presentations and financial projections, among other things. Therefore, there's a need to develop these skill sets among SMEs, particularly startups looking for equity financing. And I also want to say here at this point that Caribbean Export acts as the secretariat for the Caribbean Business Angel Network, which is a network of angel investors across the region. And this network was established in 2017 under the Link Caribbean Project, which is a program funded by the World Bank Group through InfoDev and its entrepreneurship program for innovation in the Caribbean. Now, CBAN aims to improve access to investment opportunities throughout the Caribbean for angel investors, but is also focused on connecting investors with startup, early stage, and growth companies seeking financing. So again, as we've been saying all morning, globalization and the coronavirus pandemic have revealed the fundamental importance of firms adopting a more digital approach to doing business, as was confirmed earlier by Ravi, I think Aditya, Daniel in their presentations. And because this shift is being powered by a new wave of technology, including e-commerce technology that allows companies of all sizes to be more strategic and efficient. As most businesses understand the benefits of digitalization, they also need to understand how to capitalize on them. Therefore, there's a need for training and capacity building in implementing and managing e-commerce activities, website design and development, and social media management. And I think you would have heard that from the earlier presenters as well. Further, as cross-border trade is becoming more open with the existing trade agreements like the Economic Partnership Agreement, there's a need among SMEs to take advantage of these opportunities to increase sales through export. Unfortunately, some of our SMEs still do not understand these trade agreements and how they work. Therefore, there's a need for SMEs to become acquainted with the trade agreements, especially those that can directly benefit the business, and take advantage of them for increasing exports and ultimately sales. Now, if SMEs were to act now that they are seeking to build and recover from the negative effects of the coronavirus pandemic to address some of these skills gaps, SME growth could be a strong engine of sustained economic recovery in the region. To this end, development agencies like Caribbean Expo, Caribbean Development Bank, and so on, and business support organizations across the region must also seek to address some of the structural barriers that SMEs face, such as access to finance, investments in digitalization and innovation, regulatory burdens, or broader challenges in the enabling environment. But together, we can transform the region's private sector, propelling SMEs to be the real engine of growth in our economies. Thank you. I hand you over now to Isolina, or hand you back to Isolina rather.
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you very much for those opportunities from Caribbean Export that are very complementary to ABC Fund and others. And from COLEACP, I look forward working, with my colleagues, strengthening links with Caribbean Export, as we are very, very complementary, aligned with the EU interventions. So I look at some of the chat, and some questions actually are interesting for some of our panelists, in particular MSMEs first. I give a few of them, and you will pick up the one you are interested. So a question on, are you planning to engage more smallholders to meet the demand, or do you feel specific obstacles there? How do you finance your innovations to respond to new business opportunities? How did you manage that part? And on the e-platforms that some of you have developed, what are the change that you had to do, or investments you had to do, for example, in packaging or in more sustainable, parts of the product, or confidence in the brand, or that you had to invest in as well to meet that e-commerce, or that let's say e-platform, which obviously, as Sheldon said, it will be, a must in the COVID and post-COVID times. And a question on the opportunities for MSMEs that are in the agro-processing part segment. What are the possibilities, according to you, to work together, to reach more markets, to expand? So a bit of, pulling together forces. And of course, on the certifications and the IP protection, which is also very key to get to the next level and to differentiate the businesses. So pick the one that your business is the more confident. We do a quick round, and then I will see with Anna if we have other questions. I will take the same order to simplify as you spoke. So Dustin, Massey. Dustin, you are there? I see you are. But if you are not ready, we go to Ravi, and then we come back. Ravi, please pick any of the,
Good morning again. I can speak about the change in packaging to adapt for e-commerce. For one of the major things or type of packaging you have to change. So if you're doing any products in glass bottles, that poses a risk for transport. So if it's not wrapped or packed properly, bubble wrapped and whatnot, you get a lot of breakage. One of the requirements by Amazon, you must have a 3 feet drop. So if you package it and it doesn't break when you drop it from 3 feet, you're fine. So we adapted by changing some of the products into flexible packaging. One, it makes it lighter, so the freight cost goes down, and then of course for damages and so on. Because in handling, sometimes the shippers or Amazon warehouse or any of those warehouses, they don't really take care of the product. They just throw it around. So it's very important that you be very mindful about what type of packaging you use. And then the packaging must be able to sustain the product. So putting, let's say, pepper sauce in a pouch or something, the pouch must be able to hold that product, one, without bursting, and basically must follow all the packaging guidelines for low acid products. So Again, yes, it's necessary to change packaging for Amazon or any e-commerce platforms.
Thank you very much. Aditya, you want to bring in one of the aspects your insights? Aditya Perso, or yes?
Sorry, I missed the question, sorry.
It was the one relevant to you, if you are engaging with more smallholders to meet demand or on the e-commerce. So how did you finance your innovations so far?
Yes, all financing was done privately at the onset. We did not, we're now looking to work with local entities here. We have a what is called a Small Business Bureau in Guyana, but the Small Business Bureau will give loans up to 150,000 US dollars. So we're looking to work with them. That is for the next phase of our operation. Hopefully I can come back here a year from now or so and speak to you like Ravi is speaking to you. Currently our operation is part mechanized, part manual, but we're looking to move fully mechanized or almost 90% in the next 6 to 9 months. And then after which we will be producing items with longer shelf lives and all of that. So currently we are basically into the full fresh arena. So it's a different ball game from what the agro processing. We are adding a few lines of the agro process, which is like the achars and stuff already, but we are in a full line of fresh produce, fresh whole food. And that is what the market is demanding from us. And that is what we are delivering. But like I said, every time we add a processed stuff like the authentic Guyanese mango achar or mango chutney, which is a bit different. I've spent a lot of years in Trinidad and months, so I know what it tastes like, Ravi, but it's a bit different from the Trinidadian achar or chutney. So we have that flavor as well. We have had our first order in this same week here of about 300 bottles as a sample to New York. So that has already been prepared and it's going to go into New York to one of the stores over there. So I'm saying this because initially we financed on our own, but now we have to look for some financing, whether it's grant from Caribbean Export, is it? Dr. Murray, we may email you, or our local entities here. You see, the banks are giving us a little bit of the high percentage. It's very, very high to pay back those, what do you call it? Those interest rates from our commercial bank. It's not working out for agriculture. So we have to work with the other companies that offer such assistance.
Thank you very much. Kerwin, do you have anything to add from your side? I don't know, Kerwin or Dustin. Yes.
Yes, I'm here. Just a little slow on clicking my mic and camera. What I would add is the need for us to add value throughout the whole supply chain in the Caribbean. I see that lacking. I see we need to work together, find learnings or like what Ravi did 25 years ago that I could apply now. You know, that shared information and how to do it. I also think we need to find ways to break down borders, where I can have products from Guyana and Trinidad available, or have products from Trinidad available in Guyana. I think there are a lot of red tapes in moving products between the Caribbean, and we need to figure out how do we bridge those gaps. and solve it. The thing I would like to say is efficiency. We need to be efficient, and a lot of SMEs need that training and concept on how do you take a product and get the best value out of it. You know, there are a lot of wastage in most of our manufacturing processes, and I think that is a place we can improve on.
Thank you very much. Yes, we will have sessions as well on the waste reduction and bioeconomy, and that would be very great to get SMEs as well. Daniel, and then Dustin is there. Daniel, do you have anything on the questions raised? Yes, thank you.
Okay, the question about the financing, we have been self-financed from the beginning. We've benefited, however, from training like the Branson, the Caribbean Center of Entrepreneurship. We've benefited from that, and the different programs run locally on the island that have allowed myself to receive training and the team to receive training. So that's on the financial side. As we've been scaling, however, we will be looking for outside investment in order to meet the demands right now. Packaging, we do source most of our packaging internationally. So there are challenges with shipping it in, the costs and so on. So we're looking for local solutions. There are opportunities that different people could come in. Again, like Kerwin said, if you bring down borders, so they're packaging that could be produced in Trinidad, could be produced in Guyana, and in the Caribbean, the rates would be lower for us to benefit and support each other. As it relates to the agricultural side, again, climate resilience has created a need and hence the opportunity for us to address not only the waste products of our production line, which is in composting and soil amendment, but also indoor growing of sprouts that we use in our products. So there are different opportunities which will require outside finance for us. Product innovation, because our products don't have preservatives and stabilizers, which is what our market demands, we have had to import specialized bottles that can be recycled to assist with keeping our product as fresh as possible. And not with Amazon, but with local shipping and in terms of postage, because persons will, purchase from the airport and also purchase to travel with our products. We've had to make sure that they meet the delivery standards and also keep the products fresh. So it's going to be a process of innovation and collaboration for us. I think that answers the question, or if there's anything else.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dunstan, are you still with us? Yes, I see you coming.
Yes, I'm still there.
Thank you.
Listening to everybody just shows how appropriate that session today is, where we could, talk to one another around the region and understand what everybody had to do in their own neck of the woods. It also brings a question to my mind about, we have high rates of diabetes and other things like that. And I heard so many, innovative projects or things persons undertook. We need to look and see, how do we take that to the next level? How do we learn from one another? We don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? There's so much going on in the different countries, yet, the opportunities, we are still reliant on the bigger countries for a lot of our raw materials. We need to start thinking of those and see, what resources we have in the region that we can use. And like somebody said earlier, how can we break down those trade barriers? How can we get them to empower our people? And I know we try to place a lot of focus on rural women and also youth too. How do we get those people to share in that big picture, and really move that wheel, get things to happen in the region where those people can sustain their livelihoods and help their families, because when I look around, I see so many people just depending on what's it named? Those persons who send money from overseas, people are in tight situations. So we're not out of the woods yet, we're still in that situation. What can we do now with that knowledge, that newly acquired knowledge, that we will, you know, even empower them in a way that they can now see a way out of where they are? Because some people are caught in a trance. And it's not that we don't have answers. I think we do. But how do we get it to them? That's what I have to say. And I really thank you for that opportunity. I think it was very, very meaningful. So I'm very appreciative of that opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dunstan. And indeed, you know, what I like as well as among ourselves here and much more partners that we will bring along the sessions, as Ina said at the beginning, we can improve, you know, the access to markets, access to finance, access to skills, you know, that the MSMEs that are doing already very well by themselves can expand a bit more. There was a question, actually, if Jeremy doesn't mind as well to get here, a question more related to fruits and vegetables, saying my view is that the main issue is weakness in ecosystem for export to the EU. Can you please address to what extent any of the programs address support to the regulatory agencies that have to train in GAP and monitor farmers, conduct testing for MRL, heavy metal and other tests required for accessing EU markets, and to certify packaging houses, transports and products specifically export to the EU, which obviously is one of the historic strengths of COLEACP. Jeremy, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isolina, and thank you for the question. Apart, of course, from COLEACP, I'm sure that, I mean, that we know there are other programs as well, to be through Caribbean Export. But it's true that at COLEACP we've been focusing for a number of years, and more specifically on compliance with sanitary and phytosanitary requirements in the EU. And out of the experience so far, we have to kind of identify one of the major challenges that we are facing, that in a number of cases we're managing to overcome, and others that we're still facing, is that when it comes to exporting produce to the EU, there's of course some work directly to be done with the companies, but as rightly put by the question, it's also about working with the ecosystem, and within that ecosystem, a number of direct services to the companies, and make sure that companies are able to access those services locally, at least regionally. But within that ecosystem, you have, of course, the regulatory authorities on the public sector side. And one of our most challenging activities throughout the countries we work in, being Africa, the Pacific, Caribbean, is to make sure that we have this true match in terms of design of strategies and operationalization and implementation between public and private sector. Because the private sector alone cannot, from a governance perspective, match all the requirements, and it does need this regulatory infrastructure. Hence really the need to work on both sides, and that's a bit in essence what we are contributing to do through our current Fit for Market programs, which are funded by the EU and the Organization of the Africa, Caribbean, Pacific States, and SPS compliance is a strong element of those programs. So please, to answer the question, yes, this is one option, is to send an email to the team, and there are other programs which are directly managed by Caribbean and others which also contribute to this.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Actually, I see in the chat as well about our accessing technical and the grants, and what we will do is with our colleagues from EU, Caribbean Export, of course, ABC Fund, etc., to send you all the links, you know, and all the documents to access the different, of course, services. There is Ina, you can I give you the floor?
Yes,
now?
of course. Time is running. I just want to take 1 minute to say thanks to everybody first, and to emphasize that production integration and cross-border investments would really begin to make a difference, engaging farm families, women in agriculture, youth in agriculture, and to make those network connections between our farmers, our producers, and our agro-processors. Suriname has tremendous potential for growing root crops, for livestock, for fruits and vegetables that we don't see in the rest of the Caribbean. And it would encourage links with Suriname, with Guyana, with Belize, Jamaica, who have land mass where the smaller islands don't, so that we can have proper cross-border investments. We've spoken about Caribbean regional integration for a long time, but I think now we have that window to really secure our production supply chain for our local markets, and our tourism is reopening. So let us get all our ducks in line so that when the market reopens, there is no excuse for hoteliers, food service, caterers, and event planners to say that we are not supplying in a timely way or product quality is not good, etc., etc. So through this collaboration with COLEACP and all our international partners, we will be helping you to network, to have roundtables, to negotiate bilateral and multilateral discussions so that you can build your business, access financing, access technical resources, information, knowledge, best practices, so that we form proper communities of practice and knowledge management using these types of webinars. Thanks to everyone. Look out for the next session. And that's it from IICA side. Back to you, Selena.
Yes, thank you, Ina. I wanted just to give a chance. I look at the questions and actually, about the sustainability of farms, the renewable energy, water conservation, all that is part of the sustainability agenda, for which, I mean, we are all very much from COLEACP and the partners, I know, committed. So this will come back and back to the coming sessions as well. I haven't seen more questions which, would be urgent to answer, because this is only the beginning. We cannot extend too much the session, but I will still like to give 1 minute to the experts, to Sheldon, to Jose, and to Janelle, if you want to add one thing in 1 minute. Sheldon?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Selena, for the opportunity, as well as Ina. It's, in terms of the EU support, yes, we currently support in the areas of SPS under the 11th EDF. Where, in fact, IICA is our implementing partner, and they are the ones that are moving the needle in the region, trying to get states to comply to the prevailing SPS regulations. They're also building capacity in the private sector, both in agriculture and fisheries, in SPS management. And there are other programs apart from the 11th EDF. I know under the ACP program, there have been some efforts on SPS and TBT in the region outside of the EDF funding. But just in wrapping up, I would like to say that the session was quite informative. It does feed into what the EU is trying to do in terms of future programming, trying to identify what the needs of the private sector are, and it has been extremely useful. So, having said that, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Thank you very much to your colleagues from the EU delegations in the regions, and of course from Brussels, where I am sitting now, for all the assistance and also promoting our event. Jose, you have heard a lot about the finance support to the ones that are already done well, so really they deserve that extra mile. So tell us what your insights in 1 minute.
Yeah, sure, Isolina. And yeah, on behalf of the ABC Fund, what I would encourage all of the SMEs and companies intending to raise financing to do is to sort of think about a strategic plan of fundraising, right? Combining different sources of financing is a good way to move forward. Not only thinking about grants or debt financing or equity, but rather of a combination of all, and setting up a strategic plan of from whom to raise and who to contact to start developing those conversations. As I mentioned, the ABC Fund could be a very interesting partner for debt financing at this stage. We are more than open for business in the Caribbean. Happy to discuss bilaterally. I've shared in the chat the website of the ABC Fund, in which you can have access to the emails for contacting us in case you are interested. But my advice here would be try to set a strategic plan of combining different sources of funding, especially what are the objectives that you want to achieve with each particular funder, right? So study well who the different funders are, what type of relationship you can develop with them, and where does that relationship can take you as a next step of development.
Thank you very much, Jose. And from COLEACP, we will be working closely with IICA, Caribbean Export, and others to try to, assist them, as we have done successfully, actually, with you in Africa. So now, Janelle, quickly.
Thank you, Iselina. I noticed a few questions in the chat regarding the grant. I expected that. And I just want to say that they could go to our website, www.carib-export.com, for further information. Additionally, we have a webinar happening tomorrow afternoon at 2. So you can also go to the website to register for that. So you click on the link and you register, and then you can attend the webinar and get all your questions answered there. Okay?
Thank you very much. And we will sharing the resources as well. So from my side, while I ask you, my colleagues, which I thank actually, who have been technically supporting this webinar, ask me if we can put the camera on for a last photo.
Yes.
I'll tell you, thank you very much from our side. We will be contacting you for the next sessions. Of course, I thought it was very interesting. It's just the beginning and the very small snapshot of what really is happening and the successes which we want to share and hopefully upscale. And with that, I thank you very much. And I'm sure that Jeremy wants to also say thank you. We are not together because we are still in a semi-lockdown. So, but soon, I hope for all of us soon, we will meet in person. But thank you so much from my side to all of you. It has been a real pleasure and I've learned a lot, which is a privilege. Jeremy?
Likewise, thank you. Thank you to all the participants and of course the panelists for the inspiration. And I think we all need it.
Aditya, can you put your camera on?
Aditya sent a message that he had an emergency and had to leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do what we can. Yes.
Yes.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Thank
you, everybody.
Much.
Okay, bye-bye.
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 Bye.